You got the touch. You got the power.
Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, commercial in disguise. They sold a lot of toys with this one. Wow, this is kind of a cool set actually. It's almost like I built it by hand or something. I really like it. I feel comfortable. How you guys doing? This is my new set for older movie reviews. I decided I wanted to have a dedicated set for classic movie reviews since I've had such a great time talking about so many different films over the years with you guys. I thought it'd be cool to have a special place just for that. And since Transformers: The Last Knight is right around the corner, I thought it'd be a lot of fun to talk about the original 1986 animated film that was theatrical, The Transformers: The Movie. Man, my OCD kind of just wishes it was called Transformers the Movie, but it's The Transformers the Movie. It's a real problem for me. So a giant planetary robot voiced by none other than Orson Welles, named Unicron, is destroying planets, and the Decepticons are in the middle of an all-out war against the Autobots. You can tell this movie is heavily inspired by anime. In fact, a lot of stores put it in the anime section because it looks quite a bit like every major Japanese anime that was coming out of Japan in the 80s. And the animation is probably my favorite aspect of this movie, despite the fact that it is fairly dated. There's a lot of times where the mouth movement of the robots just don't really mesh up with what the actors are saying. Speaking of those actors, Leonard Nimoy voiced Galvatron. He's pretty cool in this movie. Of course, the incomparable Peter Cullen doing Optimus Prime is probably the best thing your ears can possibly hear. But interestingly, Orson Welles, that Orson Welles voiced Unicron. This was his final film role before his death, and it's my understanding that he wasn't really a big fan of the movie, which I can understand, but at the same time, I'm not really sure what he thought of when he signed on to play a giant robot planet. I'd say if you're a huge fan of the Transformers TV show, this movie's going to be amazing. I kind of view it like that X-Files movie, actually. It bridged the gap between Season 5 and Season 6 just fine, but if you're kind of walking into it, you might think this is entertaining. If you hadn't seen the TV show, you might just be like, oh yeah, it looks cool. But having seen the TV show, it definitely adds some weight. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the TV show. So watching this movie for the first time with that Shout Factory Blu-ray, I was just kind of like, well, that was, cool looking and Transformers stuff, and at least there weren't any really annoying human characters. It was just focused on the robots, which is great, actually, because having seen all the Michael Bay movies, I've had my fill of Transformers human characters, so it was nice to see a movie that was basically just the Transformers actually themselves. But I waited a long time to see this movie because from what I understand, the releases up until that Shout Factory Blu-ray weren't very faithful. There's some curse words that were edited out and censored. Also, pretty much every release was full frame, and the original theatrical exhibition was 185. So I waited a long time to finally see this movie, and watching the Blu-ray was probably the best experience I could have had watching it. And pretty much from the opening titles of this movie that were extremely reminiscent of Richard Donner's Superman opening titles, I kind of got the vibes that this film was going for, and listening to the score especially, you cannot escape that this is a 1980s movie. And it's not really a surprise to me that the composer of this movie is the same composer of Rocky IV, because these soundtracks are almost interchangeable. And it's mostly just a fun enough action movie that you can watch from beginning to end, but it does have some really strange tones that sometimes compete with each other. Like, for instance, there's this scene where this guy Kranix is in jail, and there's this kangaroo court that's being run by people who throw people who are innocent or guilty, but mostly innocent, into a pool filled with Sharkticons. Now, these Sharkticons eat people up, and then everyone in the court laughs, and they've had a great day. This guy Kranix is innocent, and the judge is like, you're innocent. And then they throw him in this pool and he gets destroyed by the Sharkticons. Now that's kind of dark. It's more dark than you would expect for a movie like this. And somebody even says shit in this movie. I was like, whoa, that's okay. I didn't expect that. But then there's a scene like where all the Transformers meet some people on another planet and they just kind of form a circle and start dancing. And that scene is just hilariously out of place. I kind of loved it though, and I laughed quite a bit during it. So in that way, I'm actually fine with it. But it just doesn't really make sense. It's like, wait, someone just got devoured who didn't do anything, and now they're all dancing in a circle. It was kind of like Return of the Jedi, where like the Ewoks are so cute and everything, and then all of a sudden the Emperor's electrocuting Luke, and you're like, oh shit. It's just this weird mishmash of tones sometimes, but for the most part, the Transformers movie is basically made to sell some toys and to keep people interested in the animated TV show. And in that way, it's perfectly enjoyable. I would say if you have nostalgia for this movie, you're obviously going to like it a lot more than I did because I had never seen it until now. And watching it for the first time now, I definitely enjoyed it somewhat more than Michael Bay's Transformers movie because, as I said, there's no annoying children in this film. Well, there's one kid, but he's not really in the movie that much. But my eyes and my brain can be critical sometimes, and I can't help but turn it off. So there's a scene in the movie where the Autobots are underwater, and they're like fighting these monsters, and they're fine. They don't need oxygen. But later in the movie, Galvatron is like choking out one of them, and I'm like, why are you choking him? Like, he doesn't need oxygen. What is choking a robot going to do? Exactly. What a plot hole. A massive, horrible plot hole. Continuity error that no one cares about. So like I said, this movie is perfectly enjoyable if you view it as a gap between season 2 and season 3 of the show. If you just kind of watch it through and feel like you're already with these characters and you feel some investment there, you're going to have fun with it on that level. But if you're just watching this as an adult for the first time, you've never really watched the show like me, you're probably going to feel a little polarized by it and wonder what all the hype is about. But it's still perfectly enjoyable. And the animation, even though it is heavily inspired by anime, and it does feel kind of blatant that it's like obviously totally anime inspired, it's enjoyable enough to watch where you can have a good time with it. I'm gonna give the Transformers the movie a B-. So guys, I hope you like my new set. This is going to be where I film all of my classic movie reviews from now on. Whenever I do a review of an older film, it's going to be here. I also built a new set for Hilariosities right over there that I'll start using whenever I do Hilariosities from now on. Of course, my new release reviews and anime and games and stuff like that will be back at my older set. And I like the idea of having an interchangeable set. It helps differentiate the videos, and it's just fun. I enjoy building things like this, and it was a lot of fun to build. So guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to my reviews of Transformers, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, and Transformers Dark of the Moon. I'm going to enjoy doing it, and I'm going to enjoy doing it for you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you very much for watching, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.